there are quite a few ways to describe Senator Damian Crawford. However, the thumbprint of his character testifies to his resoluteness, his passion, his honesty, his thoughtfulness, and those around him. Crawford, widely known as an educator, entrepreneur, and an outspoken equal access advocate, was poised for leadership as early as 2003 when he became the guild president of the UE School of Hospitality in the Bahamas and a UE Mona Hall chairman.
The expressive leader then catapulted his way to national prominence in 2004 after leading a much publicized student protest at the University of the West Indies, Mona, during his tenure as guild president. In reference to the protest, Crawford was quoted in a 2004 Gleaner article saying, and I quote, "I believe that everybody should have equal access to certain things. I believe that everybody should have equal access to health, education, and social mobility tools. And therefore, I cannot stand for a policy that says that persons who cannot afford it should not come to the school."
I think that deserves a round of applause. This adage still holds true for the purposeful leader. Crawford has also spearheaded a number of initiatives over the years. These include a peace initiative in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, a free tutorial program dubbed Hope, helping our people excel for the CXC students, and revolving a loan scheme at the Credit Union for Students in Need. This Credit Union initiative now serves as a model for other universities in Antigua. Crawford, who earned Crawford, who owned his bachelor's and master's degrees in tourism management, still holds education dear and currently lectures at the University of the West Indies, Mona.
By extension, Crawford's life in the political arena has also evolved. In the recent years, Sharp Thinker served 2 terms as president of the PMP's youth organization. His principal stance and distinctly innovative thinking on issues of national importance have earned him both the praise and ire of his political opponents. He says this, and I quote, "Coupled with his family's pursuit of excellence, forms the steady axis which has prepared him for the reality of the political journey which lays ahead," end quote. Innate leader, gifted teacher, cutting-edge thinker, genuine philanthropist, Damian Crawford has unmistakably proven himself to be a man for all seasons. Thank you. Allow me to introduce Senator Damian Crawford.
Thank you very much. I will have to take them down to Jamaica to introduce me when it's election time. With all of that, I think the people will definitely vote for me. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to participate in your conference, in particular the youth aspect of your conference. And I want to thank you for the wonderful hospitality that I have been met with since my arrival. In particular, your General Secretary calls me constantly to ensure that I am okay. I will say no for the next 3 days. I'm okay. You don't have to call me every single time to inquire. But what I love about the General Secretary is that she would say, "You don't have to do it if you're tired enough. But I'll be there at 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. But I thank you for your hospitality, and I appreciate how you have made me feel special. And I thank you. I want to say a special greetings as well to someone I've now adopted as my own grandfather, Sir Spencer. And when I asked the kids yesterday, I said, "He's like a grandfather." No, everybody agreed he's like a grandfather. My brother. I heard you on the radio today. And he just always gives you the confidence that someone loves you. And I appreciate that, my brother, very, very much. you have an excellent resource in a person like this. To the political leader, Sir Pringle, thank you, sir, too, for having spared the time to interact with me, explain some of the things happening, show me what is happening for the party so I can better understand. I thank you, sir, for your commitment and for your involvement. To the other members of Parliament, Sir Anthony Smith, Sir Kelvin Simon, Honorable Richard Lewis, and Senator Jonathan Joseph, welcome too, and thank you for being here among the young people and for their activities. And as I speak to that, I understand that you have an election coming up. And I say to you, remember, there's a difference between a disagreement and a divide. We can all have disagreements. I can say to you, rain is going to fall at 9, and you may disagree. But the disagreement ends once 9 comes, because it would be proven if it rains or if it don't rain. If you allow for a disagreement to cause a divide, it don't end at 9. There may be some that think candidate A is better, and some that think candidate B is better. But I presume that there's none that believes that Labour is better. So, to that extent, I beg that after Sunday, the disagreement ends and no divide exists. I pray that that is the case. And then greetings to the wonderful young people who hosted me for chicken and chips last night and informed me of the best, pizza places all over. There was a debate about the best pizza, but then they claimed that they have the best KFC. I haven't tasted it yet, but the record and the trophy that I have in my bag says that Jamaica has the best KFC. So I will leave the trophy if, when I taste your KFC, I'm proven incorrect. But I will not tell the Jamaicans that there is a better KFC. It is one of the things we hold dear to our hearts in Jamaica. But I give you a fun fact. Outside of KFC, we have the #1 selling Burger King in the world. Yes, half a tree Burger King as a single store, the #1 selling Burger King. And it sounds ridiculous, but then when you go to the US, there's so much competition that maybe Burger King don't sell that much with Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and everybody beside it. But we boast that. But they'll work it out. All right, thank you very much. And the wonderful young people, Lexian, Chelsea, Shellyan, Janet, Kia, Taneja, Zodi, and this is Tahisia. That's an Antiguan name in and of itself. Juliet, and the others. And our other friend that left so late that she can't come today. I thank you for being committed to the party. But I'm grateful to be here, and I hope that my presence would improve your chances moving forward. And so what I want to talk to you about today, I need to set the context of the conversation, because most times a disagreement is based on a misunderstanding of the context. You ever hear a man say, you give me a 6 for a 9? If you really stand on the wrong side of the 6, it looks like a 9. And if you stand on the wrong side of the 9, it looks like a 6. So if you don't get the context, you might have a reason for disagreement. So when I used to teach the kids at UWI, and I would say to them, would you buy a stone? They said, no, sir, why would I buy a stone? Suppose you're fighting, and the person you're fighting have no stone, and you have no stone. You look over my house and you see 50 stone, and I say, well, $10. Would you then buy a stone? Context change, maybe. But I don't like fights, but suppose you're parking a pit. Suppose you're building a wall. Suppose you're married because a diamond is a stone. That's the context. If you want to engage, you buy a stone. That's the context. And there's a story in Jamaica of a beautiful lady driving a BMW and the police stop her. She said, was I doing anything wrong? The police said, no. She said, then I'm going to tell the commissioner, you stop me. And he said, what if you were being kidnapped? She'd have very happy for the police to stop her. So the context I'm having the conversation to the UPP is, what type of country do you want? You see, most people, they know what kind of house they want, but they have never extended their mind to what type of country they want. Not realizing that the type of country that they have is going to determine the type of house that they can get. I can tell you, unfortunately, in Jamaica, because of crime and violence, we have to make sure our houses have grill. I don't see a lot of that here. But I had to invest 2 million Jamaicans in grill and nothing in a pool. Every time sun hot, I looking at this grill with great disturbance. But if I never had a country of high crime, I could have had a pool instead of a grill. So when you say you want a nice 5-bedroom, it must have a place for the dog at the back and a place for the puss at the front, and you don't ask yourself, what type of country do I want? It is because on average, most people will accept their responsibility for the type of house that they get. I have to work, I have to save, I have to take a mortgage. But they don't want to take any duty for the type of country that they have. And so if you set to yourself in your mirror, what type of country do I want? Then you must secondly accept, what duty do I have? So you must ask yourself first, what type of country you want. And when I analyze the full conversation throughout the Caribbean, the conversation is on growth. But I've never seen a grown country. And there's very little conversation on development. You see, young people understand that growth is simply a measure of productivity. It is how much inputs create an output. And so it can be growth and the people don't benefit. In fact, there's some strategies of growth that reduces people's involvement through automation and mechanization. You can have higher output because machines have replaced human beings. I remember when there was a construction site, used to have 50 men with a shovel. Now it is one truck, a premix truck. I remember when you're going to chop a local place and clean it out, there was 100 men with a cutlass. Now it's 2 men with a weed whacker. I remember people used to hire people from the little communities to wash for them and clean for them. Now it's a washing machine. There's something on the internet called an iRobot. You press it to work and it clean the house till you come back. I went foreign, a visa. Do you need visa in Antigua to go to foreign? That's one of the things the Jamaicans never win. Anytime they have an internet quarrel, we lose once the people say visa. Because we have to have a visa to go everywhere. Soon Antigua want a visa. I don't know what's going to happen. But when I got here, I went to Walmart. They didn't have a cashier. Self-checkout. I never understood it, so I put some extra things in my thing as if I'm free. I don't want to leave with a little bit. So I take up some more things and put in my little trolley. Bigger shirt, I couldn't fit me, but me have a fat cousin, so he will get it. All it have is a security guard that check your self-checkout. So therefore, development is a more important measurement. So the type of country that I want is not a grown country, but a developed country. And sufficing to say that if the country develop, it must grow. But if the country grow, it don't must develop. But the owners of capital, they benefit from productivity. They benefit from increasing production. Don't mean that the owners of labor benefit from the increase in production. So as the politics become owned by the owners of capital, then the only conversation is GDP. and no conversation about HDI. I know enough want to know what GDP is because every day it's on the news. But some people wondering, what's HDI? HDI is the Human Development Index. It is what measures literacy and life expectancy and all of those sweetness that nobody have a conversation when there's a budget date. But say we grow 5%, grow 6%, and we grow. I stop grow from when and I'm all right. But I don't stop develop because I continue to invest in me as a person. So I want a developed country. That's the type of country that I want. And by extension, I must then say, what is my role? And the youth must accept that by, I said it on the radio today, in English language, they say connotation and denotation. Connotation is the actual meaning, and denotation, it is what is accepted to mean. By both connotation and denotation, development means an improvement over time. And anything that speaks to over time must speak to youth because they are the inheritance of time. They are the ones that will eventually get whatever time has to offer. And so when I say I want a developed country, then the youth must then be centered to that conversation. And if the youth want a developed country, then they must accept their duty in creating that developed country. And sometimes some people don't want to make space for the youth because it is almost an assumption of replacement. But one of the things that Jamaica is very good at is athletics. And in the 4x100 meters, you only have a chance if there is a point that both the person with the baton and the person receiving the baton is running at maximum speed. If the person with the baton runs and runs and runs while the person receiving the baton stand up, two of them lick up. And if the person with the baton run till him tired, never catch the other one that should receive. Only way the 4x1 maximize its potential is if those who are the elders of the party with the baton is at full speed at the same time as those who are the youth receiving the baton is at full speed. So you must develop those who are to receive so that they can be at full speed. You can't run till you're tired and then can't catch them. And so they must then demand that space to say that if we want a developed country, we have a duty that is going to be difficult, but your forefathers knew that. It said, gird your loins. To gird your loins is to prepare for something difficult. The youth of this party, and in general this party, must recognize that your loins must be girded for a battle. That is what your anthem said. For a war. Because the youth of today will be difficult to attract. And they must feel that the change that you are proposing is not just a change in part, but a change in the system. You see, the youths are tired of the party changes and not seeing systematic changes. You see, the system, by definition, is a set of interconnected variables that work together to maintain the status quo. I want you to hear the last part. To maintain what is. So therefore, if the party change and the system don't change, then what is maintained, the status quo. And so when a youth say, all right, I'm going to put you in, is it for a salary or for a change? I'm going to put you in, is it for power or for change? I'm going to put you in, is it for access or for change of the system? The youth must first understand that system. And those variables start from what you eat. Most people in the Caribbean is eating for a belly full, not for the nutrients. It's I get big I learned that a plate must have 50% vegetables, 25% protein, that's the meat, and 25% carbohydrates, that's the rice or the flour. When I grew up, it's 90% carbohydrates. And one little tubs of meat with a whole heap of gravy. I don't know what I go. I not laugh off of these things. And vegetable is missing if it's not Sunday. A slice of tomato or some cabbage and carrot, tubs over one little side. The proper nutrients is supposed to be 50% vegetable, but it's too dear. So we eat for the belly full. Look at most of the things that we say we like. Not good at all. But it full your belly. It make you feel all right. Now, who will choke cursing oil in them car? Nobody. Because the car cannot run off a full tank. It run off a tank full with the right oil. But the human is eating for your belly full. It then leads to by 35, you have diabetes. That's the system. By 40, you have high blood pressure. It means that a 40-year-old start get blind. Or you will see in your constituencies lose a foot. Can't work anymore. Or have to now buy medicine instead of buy book. And the status quo is maintained because in Picnic now don't get no subject and go work for who you work for. But chop the same cane, that's the system. The system is where our young people have become enemies of themselves so much that bleaching cream is the number one import in the Caribbean. Everybody a bleach. I'm broke. And our ladies start to spend money on their breasts and their bottom and not on their brain. That's the system. And our young people say school not important. And criminal activity is now celebrated. I hear you say road dog is a king to be revered. And bad man and gang is taking over. In my country, I see the Chinese, 10 Chinamen come together and start a wholesale, 10 black men come together and start a gang. The investment is the same because a gun is cheap. But they have become enemies of themselves to the point that what is good is frowned upon. Education is frowned upon. Christianity is frowned upon. Ethics and morality is frowned upon. Political participation is frowned upon. When the only place the rich and the poor is equal is in the polling station. In the polling station, the rich have 1x and the poor have 1x. Even in church, pastor pre-rich man offering. In the supermarket, rich man basket bigger. In the bank, you have the rich man line. In fact, the only place in combination the poor is more important is in the political process, because there's a higher number of poor than rich. And they have been convinced not to participate in changing the system because they believe there will be no change to the system. The system is where our children don't recognize it is better to enjoy 50 years instead of 5 years. And so they go to school from 13 to 18 and gallivant and have a great time and then suffer from 18 to 80. What stupid mathematics that instead of to invest for 5 and enjoy 50, you enjoy 5 and suffer 50. The youth arm, the progressive youth, must then say to the youth that I perceive a Antigua in the new, and the system will change. And the policies of this party will be the policies that change the system, that identify the country you're comfortable in, and create that country that allows for our young people to say that there is a possibility, there's an opportunity, there is a probability that I can make it in a legitimate space. where we don't celebrate you for your money but for your value. That is a change in the system. So the youth arm must say to themselves that we will become the eyes and the ears of the party into the youth, so that we can feed the party an understanding of their dreams and of their desires. You must start with all of those who born blue and move out from that to capture those who born red. You must recognize that there is a understanding among persons of equal ilk. Like when I come here, any Jamaican may say, I am overjoyed because we're Jamaicans. Maybe they will like me a yard, but a foreign we good. Just like in Antigua. When you go foreign, from you hear the accent, you start to ask what go on tonight. You don't even know if the man go kid. You just fit in your look self. The youth will listen more quickly to the youth. They will embrace the opinions more succinctly from the youth. The man said, Sir Spencer, you don't know what going on, you know. You only think you're young, but right now you don't know what going on. Me and the dog, them have to live. I will drink on the road. Eh? They will tell you that, you know, Sir P. They will say, oh, no, all right, you know, don't go through the worst. But when a youth can look to another youth and say, what if we tried it this way? What if we did these things? How much better could be our country? So the truth is, are you going to join the fight? Because as your slogan here says, no, more than ever. What we're seeing in the world now needs for good leadership. What we see in the world now needs for countries like ours to be at the pinnacle of leadership so that we can mitigate against the negative and maximize the positive, because so much things are happening and there is no world leadership. I mean, I'm sorry for the young people now, because I grew up in a time that in what happening all in Palestine, Mandela would have come out already. Or Desmond Tutu, or Mother Teresa. There would be world leaders that set the precedent. Now we're stuck with Donald Trump and Biden. There would be world opinions. We don't have a world star anymore because TikTok has taken over with millions of people to follow. I'm sorry for the youth, because when you're bathing with your little standpipe, you go on the internet and see a man in a bath. I never had that reality. My reality was compared to who lived beside me and nothing else. And the whole of we broke, so the whole of we all right. But when you have one shoes and go up on the internet, see a man with a closet of shoes, you're disappointed with your life. The youth must say, I can see an Antigua that is not based on what you have in your pocket, but in your heart and in your mind. That if we build ourselves and build our communities and build our constituencies, we can build our country. That there is a possibility that I believe, and that this party is most likely to bring it. So, I said to you, the progressive youth, tonight is the start of the change that you want to see. Tonight is the first block in the country that you want to build. Tonight is your first move in the development of Antigua, that people will look back to say, it started when the UPP youth decided that change is necessary. Thank you. And good night.